Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this Vermillion bend of reality. I am today's host, the ever chaotic Ashley, and I'm here joined by our fantastic top four, the one and only Joogle, or Joogle for short. And what
Hello.
all
Uh,
what all mischief did you get into? I see you playing gammas. You say it's standard, but there's a few fun tales. There's also Nick, but don't mind him. He's playing on his iPad in the corner.
I'm not gonna laugh. No, no,
Anyway,
no.
shall we begin?
yeah. So I played Gamma at the Oceania Online Regional, and for an event that I entered for fun, ended up getting top four. Which, well, yeah.
This
Pretty proud of myself for that, and was 100% not
for
expecting it.
for
Like,
for context, we all as a collective team had to convince Joogle to join this event. And Joogle was still like, I don't know.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like, I feel like it's a pretty standard list, all things considered, but like, there was some funny stories behind a few cards that I included. So like, just jumping right into it, leader. So it's Gamma 2, and then Gamma 1, Gamma 2 Justice. Front side, you negate energy exhaust and all your red ribbon army cards. On swing, draw. And then if you have a blue-green multicolor Z extra in play, you draw 2, flip, go down to 6. Um, I know there is the line where you can go second and crack your marker to get the Z extra turn 1 to get 4 energy turn
yeah.
2. I only did that once. I only actually went second in one game. Every
Oh.
other game I actually chose to go first, in which I won the die roll. And it's just because I felt going first was slightly stronger than going second, even though you can go super wide.
Especially
But
with
yeah,
especially with blue, like Cunning Trio just generically is fantastic going first.
yeah. And
So,
then on the backside, you ramp to red room armies on swing, draw, and then end of turn you either go up or down to free energy. Like it's very standard. Like I was doing it every turn, whether it be ramp one or ramp two, to make sure I was staying at free. It helps that all your cards cost like 1 or 2 energy for the most part. So, so yeah, it's just very, it's pretty straightforward leader and how it works. And then getting into the actual cards, I'm going to start with the 4 copies of 19, 4 copies of 20, and 4 copies of 13. These are these are your rampers, so each of them, when they're popped from energy, you can ramp top card of your deck. 13 also draws as well for paying 1 extra energy. Usually these were my turn 1 play, going for 19 or 20, either drawing or tutoring, and then comboing them off on opponent's swing to then go turn 2 the extra. 13, I was aiming to do them every single turn that I reasonably could, wherever I saw them. Just pay 1, draw 20k body, and then activate battles, pop an energy to give one of your cards 10k, whether that be offensively or defensively, is really good skill. The fact that he's also a 6 drop matters because he can't be hit by the black counterplay because as you can see by the next card 17, black counterplay does a fair whack against this deck. But yeah,
yeah.
like very standard stuff. Just playing 4 of each of them. You just want to see them, and you want to make sure that you have them in rotation. Next card, 4 copies of 17. Probably the best card in the deck. So on play you can pick up an energy, which there are turns where that will happen where you need to recycle them, and then he's just activate main limit 1, just play him from hand, and then the once per turn to pop an energy, draw 2. I didn't have any board states. I did have board states where I had 2 17s on field, but I never had a specific turn where it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pop 2 energy to draw 4. Like as long as you were just getting these down and just getting the pickup then draws, you were keep like I found I was keeping a pretty high hand. Just sucks that he's just deflect and black counterplay and charismatic exists because if they pop him, then you just get the bounce. You don't get the effect to pop energy, unfortunately. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
I read quite a few of them over the week over the event. So like having to use copies of itself or 16 other cards that can pick up energy. Yeah, it's good that you can pick up all your cards though, because then it doesn't hurt as much to ramp them. 4 copies of 16. I've seen some lists playing 3, some lists even playing 2. I think every list should be on 4. It's pay 2, just play. Yeah, sure, he doesn't have deflect, but that's really only relevant against
Like,
yellow, which they
yeah,
have the SS or
like,
the Vegeta kind of play, in which you rest mode it. But that's just
like,
fine because you can then use his effect to bounce an energy bottom deck it. Like, and then he also untaps one, so he's functionally free. What's also being removal, which is very important for a card that will come up in sideboard. The fact that he's removal, and then just being a 20k double strike just is good pressure because you can just go pay 2, play it, swing. You're usually forcing a combo, or at least a negate, so keeps with your whole strategy of wanting to play by advantage, just micro advantages.
yeah.
So yeah,
I was trying to think of like all the counterplays, and yeah, it's really only yellow that hits him. Like, not even the
yeah,
aforementioned like black counterplay.
yeah, because black counter hit, like charismatic also hits him as well, but the
Yeah,
black one's more relevant because it it's a 4 of in black versus charismatic, which is a 1 of, and with
and
charismatic, I'd much rather be wanting to hit a 17.
yeah, like hit the draw engine rather than the one bit of removal.
Yeah, I'll do these 3 together. 2 copies of Oob, 2 copies of Cell, the Ultimate Bioandroid, and 2 copies of Cell Max. Cell Max is really good, 30k double strike. He's a 30k double strike blocker barrier that can also be dual if you pop an energy. The worst thing about him is that he's a pay 4, which means you either have to play stuff, then ramp, then just commit your final play to this, or you have to commit your first 4 energy to this and then use your last 2 on archetypal stuff like 17, 16, 13, the dual names. But just being a big body is really good. It's really good into red that isn't warp Jeter because red just doesn't have much barrier removal. Um, so this guy just being able to stick is really good. And because usually what I'd do with him is that I'd play him, swing, activate the effect, restand, and then just pass. Because then he's a double 30k blocker. So it's just super annoying for a lot of decks to out. 2 copies of Cell 9, also pay 4, but he bottom decks the board. And then then having the anti discard effect is really good, mainly into green, because if they go for a 3 uneasing awakening, that's a -4 in hand because um they have to do the actual card itself, the discard for the effect, discard for flood, and then sell also pay 1. It's just really good. Unfortunately, didn't verse any green over the weekend, so I actually ended up not playing him once. But I think he's too important of a card to not include in the list. And then 2 copies of Oob. This was a recent change I'd made to the deck. He's just because people just aren't respecting it as much as what they have been in past. 30k double striker. He's a 2 cost if your opponent has 2 more Z energy and 3 more energy. You draw 1 when playing him, so he replaces himself. Z Charge 3 is really good against a bunch of decks that rely on cards in drop or on field for effects. So he's kind of a middle ground of Cell 9 and Cell Max, where he's removal, but he's also got he's good removal, but he's cheap. And then he's got the counter effect, which combines 7 or more Z energy. Your opponent Z charges 1. Usually, I like to try and sit on 2 Z energy. So if your opponent has 2, you play them, you remove 3 cards. That's up to 7 now, so the effect's live. Really good card. I think I played him in every single match. He was probably one of the MVPs of the deck for the weekend. Just being a lot of pressure confined into 1 card. And I'm really glad I've actually made the change to include him in the list. And then going into the multicolors, we've got 4 copies of Gammas, 4 copies of Cell, and then 2 copies of 18. Gamma is just pay 1, your opponent discards 1. Because it's attached to the effect, you guarantee get the discard. 15k blocker that also be 15k dual attack blocker that also beans your lead. Very good card. You're always using it defensively. But there have been some times where I've like had to play it on the offense, whether I'm pushing for game or really just needing to force my opponent into a unfavorable position. Cell 5 is just the bread and butter ramp of this deck. Like, if you see it in hand, you're wanting to get an energy. It's fun though because against certain colors like green, where they rely on your opponent being on free energy. If they swing leader before playing a solidarity or a Gogeta Omega, as long as this guy's in rest mode, you combo him off. Now they can't play solidarity at all, and Omega Gogeta just don't get their effect. So just really good card. Unfortunately, didn't play him. Like I didn't play him as a 25k double striker. I was always just using him as combo fodder, whether that be offensively or defensively.
Yeah,
And now I
you.
want to talk about it because this card, she had only been in the deck for an hour prior to the regional.
Oh
Because I was
dear.
doing some hands before the regional, and I just noticed a general lack of consistency in finding multicolors.
Yep.
I run a 56 list. Well, I was running a 54 list with only 8 multicolors in main deck, being the 4 gammas and 4 cells. And I was like, I'm entering this event for fun. I might as well just add 2 extra cards of 18. Go to 56. She fixes consistency issues. She's a multicolor. You can also charge her if you don't have your Z extra in play. And she ended up coming in quite useful. There was a lot of turns where I ended up just finding her as my only multicolor. So I was able to just charge her turn 1, so I had guaranteed Z extra turn 2.
Like,
I think there was only. I do not actually think there was any games where I didn't awaken turn 2 because of playing 10
y-
multicolors all up in a 56 list.
like
And then,
I'm guessing you had to have like a glimpse of the future at this point, with just like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna need these multis, and like you
just the
didn't test
coloring, yeah,
this. It was just, oh hey, by the way, guys, I put these in. Wish me
yeah, it
luck.
was really fun. I didn't consolidate with any. I think I only consolidated with Matt about this change prior, in which he was on board for it. Like the rest of the team hadn't found out until after the event. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it came in super useful. Being able to search for cards like 17 for Gamma for your 5-drop cell, and and even your 1-drops. There was some times where I had to search them so I could have a ramp. Just incredibly useful card. Glad that I threw it in. Didn't get the arrival effect off, but although it is one of those things where it's like it can technically come up. And then 2 copies of the 17 duo, just a really good card. Just pay 1, draw. You can use it to blank. You can use it to blank Great Sandman because then you just swing. It's 20k body. Really good into red. Pay 1, draw, play them, swing. If they explosive dance, that's fine. Just swing your lead, combo these guys, combo a card from drop, whether that be like a Cell Max Def cleared or an Oob. So you have 30k in Z energy for explosive dance. Just very solid card. Um, Only thing that sucks about it is that it's an off color, but even so, it's not too relevant because a lot of your cards do actually tap for colorless. Like Cell 9 taps for like the main one being Cell 9 because he's a blue or green 2 colorless. Although there are other cards in both Z deck and side that you can use to help proc it, including himself. If you ramp one, have the other in hand, you just pay over it, draw, and then just like pop it with something like 17 or 13. Then we've got 4 copies of Power Unshackled, the main floodgate of the list. Just good card. Not many decks can really respect it. There's very few have that don't swing with battle cards. Like I know like red in the Unison package camp, like that's one of the only decks in which you have cards like Baby Hatch, which was my Siguro choice for for those sorts of turns. Just very good, just very good card. And I'll spoil it now. My final round was against Belmod. I ended up chaining all 4 Power Unshackles in back-to-back
Yeah.
turns into Baby Hatch, which
It
took
was
us to time,
it was
which
gross.
was yeah, it was very
You
gross.
apologize.
He
You
got
apologize
I do apologize for that. Like I did feel a bit sorry about doing that, but it was
a
like
bit.
he also playing his Iwins and then just immediately flipping them to hidden mode, so he wasn't actually respecting Power Unshackled. And
Yeah.
I did be on a little bit. I did let a swing through before I baby hatched, even though I should have just popped it in the first place.
Wait, that
And
is
then
actually a good point. Belmont should have had an easy time into Power Unshackled.
because they played Iwin, which is the only 1-drop they play in the deck, and then
Yeah.
the problem was he immediately flipped it to hidden mode, so he couldn't actually bottom deck it because you need it to be face up. So yeah, it was Yeah, it was just unfortunate for him. And on one of the boards, on the only time where he had kept the Iwin in active mode, I ended up clearing it before he was even able to swing with a battle card. So I had punished him for it. I think I'll probably just rapid fire through the rest of the deck because the main deck, because it's pretty straightforward here. 2-3 splitter super combos. I don't like leaning heavily into one or the other. I think that both Zeno and Hachon do their role. Hachon
Yep.
being 4 or less draw, Zeno being pick up energy fixing. Like I just like this split. It's what I found to work best. 4 dimension magic, just generic blue negate, restand 2 energy. Very important if you want to do plays like Gammas. Gamma's 13. That being also helps with that, and then also making the lead defensively 25k is very strong, especially with floodgates considered. And then one of Clash. Nick was the one who actually told me to put it back into the deck, and
Clash
it
is
definitely
funny.
helped a few games. Just being able to get an extra 10k for free, as well as a draw, just for popping an energy. And it also being archetype, meaning you could pick it up off all your effects, is just really strong. So yeah, great card. Glad I included it. Helped out a lot during the event.
And then show them your 3 card Z deck. Show them your
Yeah,
three.
I might as well just. Yeah, really, there's only 3 cards worth talking about in the Z deck, which was these two 18s and the Z extra. These were the only cards I played from Z deck the entire week, well, the entire event. Like, there was definitely times where I considered other cards in Z deck, like a second Z extra or Dabra, but for the most part, it was just these 3 that came out. Like Z extra being mandatory because you have to awaken, but also having the effect to pop itself to energy and then just KO your opponent's board, just really strong. And then I play a second because being able to double swing with lead under certain floodgates is really good. 218, probably one of the best blue unisons in the game. 20k
Seriously.
double striker. Being able to fix your energy in this deck specifically is very strong. And then being able to either bottom deck an opponent's battle card and restand itself on the +1, or the much stronger effect of +0, bottom deck
Like
one from your opponent's hand and restand an energy. That was pretty much everything. I was doing that almost every turn 4 onward, just forcing hand disruption, swinging 20 double, getting a potential negate or a getting negates or combos out whilst threatening a 20k double. Just
like
incredibly strong.
if you had told
And
me
then
blue would become one of the best hand rippers next to green when I started
yeah,
playing, I wouldn't believe you. Like, no, that's green shtick.
yeah. And then as for the rest of the Z deck, one Goku Frieza. I played the new hand counterplay in sideboard, so I just wanted a card that would enable it early on. So TBR made the most sense, especially now it's now accessible with the reprints. 2 Dobras. This is 2 of my 4 cards that do deal with barrier. So it's very important that I'm playing it at multiple copies. Very strong with it also being a 20k dual attacking unison, which means you can swing into yellow, especially if they have like a Becca Freezer negate out. One stronger together. I wish this card came up more, but I was just keeping my opponent's hands very thin throughout the entire game. Just force your opponent bottom deck till I have 10 left. And then being able to give a dual name card 15k triple strike, which the only one you can do in this deck is Gammas. But making them a base 25k triple striker is very strong. One Cell Awakening of the Career, just board removal. It's very good into stuff like Vegeta, because you can potentially get the triple strike crit. And then Bojack Arrogant Agent Instruction. For unison centric decks, mainly actually black, because again, this deck dies very hard to the black counterplay, so you just want to have the
Hello.
most abilities, the most ways possible to clear it. Also, just being a 20k double striker, and then also being able to KO opponent's cards when on either player's turn if a card's KO'd by a skill is just very strong. And then for the sideboard, we have one Bad Omen. I She didn't come in any games. There wasn't. She comes in for slower matchups where you're gonna have to try and win by time. Although there was no decks that was very like explicitly, oh, I'm gonna go to time, so she didn't come in. 2 goals, 2 for Mill. I didn't verse Mill, so this didn't need to come in. Although I have had it come in clutch in practice. 2 copies of Baby, very good for decks that rely on unisons. Um, Again, black just you're able to pair Baby with a 16. You can just So for 3 energy and only 1 in hand, you can clear both a battle card and a unison. Very strong against black, because you can clear a Demigras. You can also clear something like a BMS because 16's outside the BMS range. And so you can enable stuff like 17. Just very strong. Technically, you could play this as well if you have like a cell. If you have cell or stronger together in play. But again, that's like the 1 in 1,000 case. That'll come up. 2 copies of Emotional Blow, only other barrier removal in deck. Also to respect Mill, because there's definitely a few people here in Oceania who play it. I had ended up siding this into Purunga, because I was scared of a lot of their barrier blockers, but they didn't end up playing any, or I was able to clear them quick enough, so it didn't matter that much. It was actually more useful as a card to pop off Explosive Dance. So, 2 Realm of the God, and then 2 Realm of the Gods Beerus destroys, 2 Hidden Innate, 2 Quoits, and 2 Dobberers. Dobberers didn't come in, I didn't verse any green. Quoitses straight up won me my game against the Rinsu. I had gotten them down to about 7 in hand, 4 life. I dropped Quoits on them, and they just couldn't get any of their chains going because all the cards in a Rinsu that you play during Activate Battle are 20Ks or less. Just incredibly strong card. It's also good for filtering. 2 Pan counterplay, just new strongest blue counterplay, bottom deck of 4 or less, as long as you have a unison with 3 markers on board, so it pays 1. I did end up using the activate main only once to clear a card, and I think like it wasn't like I needed to do it, but I just wanted to make sure my opponent's board was clear. And then other MVP card of the day, Realm of the Gods Beerus Destroys. I want to thank Biriarr personally for putting me onto this card and including it. So for 1 energy, activate battle. If it's your turn, you bottom deck an opponent's card with greater energy cost than the current energy. I use this against Belmod and Warp Jeter. Warp Jeter to get rid of the Bold Arrival, and Belmod to get rid of the Belmod 11 drop offensively, as well as just being making your lead 25k swing. And then defensively, draw 1 bottom deck at 2 or less. I also use that against Belmod because they had flipped an Iwin and then swung lead. So I had this after I'd already used 1. I just had the second one bottom deck the Iwin, so they weren't able to swing for the turn. So yeah, that's the list. Like definitely some spicy picks in terms of cards in side deck, mainly the Realm of the Gods. But it's a card that I've been trying out for a while and it works really well. And then as for my actual matchup spread, my only loss of the day was actually round 1 against Daimaku. I just ended up bricking really badly, and they just had all the momentum they needed just to kind of just push through everything. I believe it was also my quickest round at only 15 minutes. And then round 2 was against BT27 Vegeta, in which Realm of the Gods put in work. I was able to clear the board arrival they had gone for turn 2, even though they had the marker. So on my turn 3, I was able to just pay 1, clear it, and then just make sure I kept getting my Parent Shackles going. Round 3 was against a Rinsu, and he had ended up getting a pretty strong turn 2. He was using a lot of the Daimaku stuff to set up unisons in that, but I just sided in Baby because more Rinsu lists have been leaning towards a unison build. So I was able to clear the unison, clear the board, and then following turn just quit Sakai and just pressure him from 4 to 0. Round 4 was against Purunga, incredibly chill guy. I made quite a few misplays during that game, mainly with Gammas, because I was trying to keep his hand incredibly thin, but I wasn't abusing the fact that I was a blocker. But I was able to win in time. I was able to just push in the final minutes. And then my final round was against Belmod. Fun fact, that was actually my first time playing against that deck. So I had only brought in Beerus and Baby. So I knew they were going to focus on a unison, a 2-cost unison, whether that be Topo or Margarita. And because I knew the archetypal gimmick of the gods matching their energy cost of their universe number, with hindsight, I should have brought in Quoits because I found out they do a lot of battle tricks in that one specifically. He was playing the white-black builds with Cumbers, but I didn't let him get any value of popping something like Cell Max with Cumbers because I had actually started out Cell Max. So he comes out whenever there's a lot of barrier, like a lot of decks that can ignore barrier very easily. So yeah, 4th place overall. Finally got my hands on a cereal and the 2 explosive dances to go with my Broly that I have from previous regional. Yeah, just a interesting
Yeah.
gamma list. Like
So,
ultimately nothing too crazy, but just a
like,
little bit.
if anything you take away from this, folks, Joogle never faced Belmont, but just the deck knowledge alone saved him. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like it's important to have knowledge, like even little fragments of knowledge on decks. Like I was also expecting stuff like TN, in which I had kind of also accommodated a fair bit of my sideboard around.
Right.
Like if you also know like what your region's like kind of format is, because Oceania is different from EU, which is different from NA. Like all the
Yeah.
different regions have slightly different formats. Like if you've looked at the third place list running Mill Slug, and then also like Zamasu Mill getting ninth, like Oceania has a fair whack of Mill, which is why I run a lot of cards that respect it. But like it might be different in other regions where TN like might be the best deck, so you might want to focus a little more on hand destruction or Quetzalcoatl for battle tricks. Like
Yeah.
you
Like,
you have to know what your meta is and like know like roughly what you're going up against.
I see this message is aimed more for those looking at the regionals and going, I could top four too.
Yeah, like
Like,
it takes like you need to have knowledge on the format in order to actually do well to make and to make good calls.
yeah. Yeah. So that's roughly everything. I think
Yeah,
and definitely better to have, like you were saying, you have a fair whack of mill, and better to have those cards than not, because even I'm considering them, and we don't, like, NA here does not run a fair bit of mill. There's like Zamasu mill sometimes, maybe. So is yeah. All right. Well, that
You can't
has
speak about this
been
in front of me.
that has been the lovely Joogle. Thank you, Joogle, for presenting your finest work that got you top four,
well, thank you
and
for having me.
and
I
hopefully
hope someone bullies you in the comments for that voice.
for the huh.
I hope
Anyway,
someone bullies you in the comments.
knowing my luck, it's gonna be you in the comments. Anyway, uh, little bit of a channel update. We are also going to be streaming some Gection, and streaming, like, uploading. I plan on doing that, so you'll get used to my annoying voice, Nick, more frequently.
Boo.
So I will see you guys in the next time the rift tears open. Farewell.